Yeah, I'm going to do my PS1 collection. I've decided to bite the bullet because it's vaguely nearing sort of a completion. But I think I've mentioned in the past the last few games I really want could take years to get, even though there's only a few of them. So I thought I might as well at least do an update now, rather than actually present this as a sort of a complete not complete collection as in every last PS1 game, but a complete collection as regards my own the games that I want. So I'm going to do it as an A to Z, and I thought I had the idea of doing each letter as its own standalone video. Although that does depend on how long each video is, although this is already adding a minute. Because, like for instance, I've only got five games in E, and there's about 10 in A, so this is obviously going to be A, and so I might combine them, I might not, don't know. I just thought it might be a bit more digestible for, it'll be easier for me, because if I did this in one long stint, it's going to take hours anyway. But it'd be more digestible, easier to do for me, more digestible for you. But then at the same time, it might be a bit bitty, and it might be a bit annoying to just to go from one video to another, just one short video. I don't know. I haven't really decided, so I'm just gonna start and film and maybe work it out afterwards. I might even upload this straight away. But it's a bit gloomy. Does that look dark? I'm sitting. That's better. Oh, it's a lot better actually. Yeah. I haven't, like I said, I haven't decided exactly how it's going to work. But as it is, this is A. And so if it does get uploaded as individual videos, I'd probably eventually present it as a playlist and link them all together, so you wouldn't have to click or anything. Just you could potentially watch it all the way through automatically, or pick and choose. So that's what's going around in my head. I haven't really decided, but and then once it's done, do a final sort of video, but as stills without me in it, just lots of stills of my games, just presented with maybe music over the top, something like that. I don't really know, but just as a sort of a really short, sort of 5-minute video or something, just as like an overview. So I'm just winging it. Because thinking back, I think one of the videos I'm most proud of, one of the videos I'm most proud of is that A to Z PS1 video I did. It was that tag that went round where you had to present one of your games in each collection that began with a certain letter. Because that was, I actually put effort into that video. And I thought, yeah, that's not bad afterwards, because most of my videos require zero effort whatsoever. Just otherwise they don't get made. But so that's the lie of the land. So this video is already 4 minutes long. So I'm gonna speed up. I mean, some of these won't require any explanation whatsoever. I'm not going to patronise people for talking about sort of certain games, because they're 10 a penny, certain games, and then the games everyone's played, so you don't really need to talk about them. But others, might. And it is predominantly A to Z, but there's certain exceptions. I'm not going to not going to take any notice of the if it's the, and also certain games in certain series, we're going to keep them together rather than split them up. So there you go. Anyway, nearly 5 minutes. First game. This is going to be a standalone video. First game. It's Alondra. The Adventures of Alondra. So you look, the Adventures of Alondra. Obviously it's actually AD, so Adventures. But you get how it works. or not really making a good shot of this. It's I suppose an action RPG. It's probably the closest thing you'll get on the PS1 to Zelda: Link to the Past. On the, I suppose so this is that sort of genre, isn't it? It's that action RPG. It's really really good game. There's so much to it. It's a huge game. There's lots of puzzles. It's just that sort of, like I said, Link to the Past sort of genre, puzzles, problem solving, towns to go and talk to people, all that sort of stuff, and a bit of platforming, sort of platforming, but not lots of bushes to cut up and things to discover. But it's huge. It's a massive game and it's tough. It looks it's 3D. No, sorry, 2D. It's 2D sort of sprites. Sort of colour palette is quite muted. I suppose that's a design choice, but it looks good. But as far as relatively, it's not actually. I was going to say relatively early, but it's not. It's 1100. But it's 2D, so it's it's sort of not making the best or the most, sort of like it doesn't really sort of making the most of the PS1's sort of hardware, because it's sort of 2D, and I suppose for that reason it runs it runs really well. And I prefer it over the sequel, which is coming up next. It's tough and it's long, and it comes with a manual and a hints book, and might as well show you. So the Adventures of Alondra hints book, and a map. I forgot the map. Yeah, so maybe somebody decided afterwards, and in hindsight, they should probably include a map and hints book, because it's tough. But it's Adventures of Alondra is the first one. Second one, Alondra II. Exactly. This isn't actually in a. That's what I'm saying. Isn't actually in a alphabetical order, because this Alondra II wouldn't come after this one, as you'll see in a minute. But I thought, part of the same series, keep them together. Alondra II. It's a sequel, but it's 3D, so it uses polygons and it doesn't run as smoothly. It's not as much fun. It is sort of worthwhile, and it's sort of games you play into it and you can really get into it. Then sort of the those sorts of things will just fade into the background. You might really notice them, but then in direct comparison to its predecessor, it does sort of fail when it comes to, not fail, but pale when it comes to sort of playability. But it's pretty much the same sort of thing as the problem solving, and there's like sort of bosses to beat and stuff like that. It's that sort of genre, that action RPG genre, but still pretty good, worthwhile in its own right. But there you go. So here we go. You see, not in exactly alphabetical order, because this is Agent Armstrong. See, that was AL, this is AG. Did you get my drift now? Good. I won't explain it more. Agent Armstrong, it's essentially a side-scrolling run and gun, I suppose, in the vein of a Metal Slug, but I think it uses sort of the main character, Agent Armstrong. We uses sprites, but it's sort of a 3D backgrounds. It's that sort of combination of the two. It's okay. It's the only comparison between it and Metal Slug is sort of the genre, but but it's there's not really much to say about it. But it's worthwhile if you're into that sort of game. It's Agent Armstrong. It's not too expensive either. The classic Alien Trilogy, probably my favourite FPS on the PS1. But then again, I don't think the PS1 was built for FPSs. I mean, it was obviously really early in the, when it came to 3D gaming. So, it sort of captures sort of the alien atmosphere, the aliens universe atmosphere brilliantly. Again, pretty tough. I had this originally and made the heinous mistake of using a cheat. It was all levels. It was invincibility, all weapons, all ammo cheat, which just destroyed my enthusiasm for the change. don't ever do that. And if you ever see a cheat that offers you that, don't ignore it, because and it's pretty much because I've seen the late levels and there's no challenge to it, and I sort of travelled to the late levels and I had all these weapons, and it was great fun for a while. But as far as sort of a longevity, my enthusiasm, they just waned pretty quickly after that. But a dirt cheap game. You see my face? Whoa, creepy. But nails the atmosphere. But don't use the cheat if you can find it. Don't use the cheat. This is one which is actually the sequel to a game that will come on later. So it's Allied General. Its predecessor is Panzer General, but that's obviously P. This is A. I thought I should go first. It's tactical. It's a sort of historical tactical game based on the sort of Second World War. It's I think there's a port from the PC game, being a PS1. Being the PS1, it probably doesn't quite handle those sorts of games as well as the PC game. So it's probably not the best platform for this sort of game. It's a drier than dry tactical game. I don't think you can get it. It's sort of based on the battlefields are hexagonal based. I don't think we're really going to get a good shot of that, are you? No. Prepare to be blown to bits by the next generation of strategy gaming. I think that's overselling it slightly. It's pretty dry, but it's definitely worthwhile if you're into that sort of thing. I mean, it's something that you will sort of take. You could get drawn into, but it's not an easy sell, so to speak. Alone in the Dark essentially rides on the back of the Resident Evil series. And pretty good in its own right. I think you take control of two characters in this, and you sort of chop and change between them. But it is actually pretty good in its own right. Yeah, Alone in the Dark, the new Nightmare. I think there's a PS2 version, but I think the actual PS1 version is supposed to be is held in higher regard. Don't have too many sports games. This is one of the few I do have. This is one I originally had when I first had my PS1, and it's a really good arcade tennis game, and it's got Anna Kournikova in it. And it's got lots of different modes like explodable balls and stuff like that. And it's really worthwhile, and it's great in 4-player. This particular game, Ape Escape, it's an analog game only. When I first had my PS1, I didn't have an analog controller, so I couldn't really play it. But it's a really good game. Besides, if you do have the analog controller, it was a bit of a revelation at the time. I do have me and this game have history. The first time I encountered it was when I was at university, and this guy, Little Jim, who lived in our house. Really conscientious, really hard-working, and always did his work on time. I think it was midway through my second year, I came back from an exchange, and I had a week to do an essay. And Jim had already done his. Jim had his done for months, and I had a week to do mine, and I left it literally to the last day, and I was sort of staying up pretty much, pulling an all-nighter to get this essay done, and because my mind only works with pressure, and it's called Gloomy, bollocks. No, it's not Gloomy anymore. And I was sort of trying to pull an all-nighter, but I was sort of taking the odd break here and there because, it was really doing my head and just sort of sitting in front of this computer or just trying to get it done. And I'd come downstairs and little Jim would always he'd either be playing this or fishing on Breath of Fire 4. So every time I sort of put this game on, it always initially get this sort of cold sweat because I'm transported right back to that time with the pressure to get this horrible essay done. But just little Jim playing this bloody game because he'd had his essay done for months, and anyway. As Ape Escape, really worthwhile, great game. Apart from that, and this is I've not played this one actually, but it's Midway Arcade Greatest Hits with, obviously you can see it, Paperboy, Gauntlet, Roadmasters, Crystal Castles, Marble Madness, and Millipede. Not played this. I hope it doesn't cut corners like the PS2 Midway compilations do, because that you know, they're sort of dodgy emulations, aren't they? I hope this isn't like a dodgy emulation. I mean, the version of Gauntlet could have even be better than the version on the PS2 compilations. I mean, you know, you never know. But a Gauntlet 2 is one of my favourite games on my Amstrad, and I enjoyed the arcade game, but obviously never get very far. Paperboy, I have memories of the arcade game. There used to be a stand-up cabinet in our old cinema. Apart from that, I don't have much experience with the other games, but it's not a bad compilation if you're into retro. You know, it's an arcade. I think it's an arcade compilation of arcade ports, I think. But and finally, for A, probably the weirdest, most interesting game out of these, it's Moszer Dreams, an RPG. I mean, but it's an RPG with a lot to it. It's I suppose it's the closest thing you're going to get to a roguelike on the PS1. With you're basically like this dude here, and you live in a town, and I think your father was a monster catcher or an egg hunter, and you're not allowed. You live in this town. You're not allowed to catch monsters until you're 15, and as the game begins on the character's 15th birthday. And then he sort of comes of age and he can go into the town and he can catch monsters, and you catch the monsters and you catch the eggs and you can breed them. See, it's sort of like a combination of lots of things, because you catch the monsters and you can breed them. So it's like a roguelike. It's also like a monster rancher game, monster catcher game, but then also at the same time, the deeper you get into the game, sort of the town that you live in evolves. So there's always extra elements to it, like you get this sort of group of women who you get like girlfriends and stuff, and they'll sort of throw themselves at you. It's a bit bizarre. It is generally, but it's again, it's that sort of combination of polygonal backgrounds with sort of sprite-based main character, which doesn't always work. But the again, did I mention that you go up the tower? And obviously, it's a 90-level tower, and you get to the higher you get to the top, the more difficult it is. But each level is what's the word? It's it's randomly generated. That's it, randomly generated. So it's never the same thing. You know, the monsters and the items are never in the same place twice. So so it's got its flaws, but it's worth having because it's basically a few ideas, few sort of general ideas, with it just thrown at the screen. Hopefully something sticks. But yeah, and you get all these. You build up your town, and you get all these weird items. You can sort of decorate your house with them, stuff like that. Just art and stuff, and people hang out in your house. And yeah. It's Moszer Dreams, so there you go. That's the A's. See if I can hold them up without dropping them. A's. The next episodes will be quicker than this, because there'll be less explaining to do. There you go. That's A's. So there you go, and. Yeah, the next few, I think the B's won't be as long, so I think I might keep this as dedicated videos, because obviously this has already taken nearly 20 minutes. So I might keep it separately rather than combine them. But yeah, I could do with making the odd short video from now and again. I need to, because I generally don't do that, do I? So eventually, yeah, and it'll become a playlist. So for anybody who likes that sort of thing. Right, look out for number B, part 2, B, 2B. Yeah, look out for the Bs. I actually know a bloke who's in the Bs, the band. Yeah, he lived with my friend. Met him. That was interesting. So, yeah, I'll see you later. Thanks for watching. Yeah, look out for Bs. Bye.